So how do people get rich in real estate? I'm Paul Maguire and I got rich in real estate, and I'm going to show you the secrets that I used to get rich in real estate and how you may be able to do the same. It's not that complicated, but it does require you learn how to do it. So how do you build wealth and get rich in real estate? The first key to that is acquisitions of real estate. You want to control and hold the property. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that you want to build an asset base of properties. If you buy a $100,000 property, a $200,000 property, and a $300,000 property, 1, 2, and 3 add up to 6, right? So you got $600,000 worth of property. That $600,000 worth of property hopefully will increase over time. The longer you hold it, the more likely it is to increase because the cost of materials goes up, land goes up, the value of real estate generally is on the rise long term. Rents will also rise over time, typically. So to get wealth in real estate, you want to have an asset base of properties that have appreciation, that start going up in value over a long period of time. 600,000, 6 million, 60 million, no matter where you are, if appreciation is 3%, you're getting 3% of 6 million is what, 180,000 a year, right? By having this asset base of property, you're gonna have appreciation working in your favor. Another way to build wealth in real estate is to do the 1031 exchange, which I talked about earlier, where you hold a property over a period of time and then you trade your equity into a bigger property, again, building your asset base and having a big bunch of properties that you own that continue to increase over time, slowly or quickly, depending on what you could do in terms of raising rents or improving the quality of the property by renovating and getting a higher rent because it's a better property, laundry services and other things that cause the value of the property to go up. Another way to increase the value of a property is to, of course, give it a facelift. Paint is a big one. Windows are another one. I'm big on doors. You know, buy those Home Depot metal doors. Everybody has Home Depot metal doors. They don't look good. But if you pay a little more money, you get a nice wood door with a nice handle and you paint. It makes all the difference in the appearance of the property and the feeling of going into the property by having a nice door that isn't a Home Depot metal door with a little window on the top. It looks stupid. So that gets a certain customer. A nicer door gets a different customer, right? People want nicer stuff, generally will pay more for it. So that's another way to increase the value of a property, increase the rents by increasing your product or the way the property looks. Another way to increase your property value and your wealth is landscaping. I can't tell you how many properties I've been by and the landscaping is neglected, doesn't look good. If it doesn't look good, you have no curb appeal, people are not going to pay a lot of money to rent. People are going to live there that have cluttered, unlandscaped property. They don't care. But if the property's nice and it's landscaped and it's clean, people will rent. You also don't want to have a bunch of clutter all over the property. Again, decreases the value of your property, gives it a bad appearance, you'll get less rents. So the blueprint in getting wealthy in real estate starts with subscribing right here, okay? Go ahead and subscribe so that we stay in communication and you have a mentor who's doing real estate who can help you. The blueprint for real estate comes down to buying properties and hanging on to them. You meet all the really wealthy people in real estate, the majority of them are not flippers. The majority of them are people who bought property and held it for a long time. I've done both, but generally my wealth has been built, and most people you talk to has been built on long-term assets being held for a long time and enjoying appreciation and enjoying cash flow and tax benefits over a period of years. Another way to build wealth in real estate is the value add, which I look at price per square foot or price per door. Price per square foot in like buying homes means that the property value is significantly lower on a price per square foot basis than other properties in and around the area. So if I'm looking at a $300,000 house and the typical home in the neighborhood sells for $450 and the square footage is about the same, then the price per square foot on that house, the price and the square foot, you do the math, you'll see it comes out to a number, $280 a foot, $220 a foot, $180 a foot, depends on the neighborhood and what things are selling for, right? So I'll try to find the lowest price per square foot, fix up those properties and rent them for a higher rent, or sell them and then get the money and buy more property, or hold them and rent them and then sell them and do a 1031 or trade out of them to buy other property. So these are all the strategies that people use to get wealthy. Most of your wealthy people do not flip. They might buy a property, fix it, and sell it. I do that too. I do it all the time. But I also have properties I trade into, properties I hold for rentals. We call them, trade bait. I'll buy a fourplex. I'll hold on to it for 3 or 4 years, put a roof on it, clean it up, make it nicer, paint it, get more rent, and then sell that with the increased value and use that equity to trade in. And I'm doing that right now, and that's a common way that people build wealth. Don't forget to subscribe down below, by the way, before we go into the next part, which is how to accelerate your wealth in real estate in just a minute. So the way that people accelerate and get rich in real estate, their wealth, is they refinance their properties and they take their cash and they buy more real estate. Some people call it pyramiding. What that means is that they buy properties and hold them for a while, and as they get cash or equity, they refinance and pull cash out and then buy more real estate. So right now I'm doing a refinance of about $6 million on a property that I've owned since 2004. I only owe about $3 million, but the value of properties and the rents over the 17 years I've owned it has gone up significantly. So I'll pull out $2.5, $3 million worth of cash. And I'll use that cash to do what? To buy more real estate. So my asset base, which I talked about earlier, is bigger now, right? So that $9 million property, I got $2-3 million. Maybe I go buy another $5-6 million worth of real estate, and I could have a bigger asset base to grow in time, more units, less risk of people moving out because I got so many units. I have enough cash flow to pay all the bills, right? The more units you have, they're not all going to be vacant at once, right? So a couple of people moving out, maybe I have 2% are vacant, 3% are vacant, 4 or 5%, but not 100%, not 25%, see? So the fastest way to accelerate the wealth then is to use the money from the equity to continue to buy properties. Now, that does not come without risk, okay? The risk is you get over leveraged, and believe me, I've done it, and it's not pretty. In 2008, it kicked my butt, like a lot of people. But the key to that whole thing is making sure that if you do pull money out, you have enough cash to be able to pay it. And the banks actually will protect you in that, because especially in apartment buildings, they'll only let you borrow 65, 70%, and they have a thing called debt service coverage to make sure you have enough income to service the debt. So they do protect you there a little bit. But if there's a big swing in the market, you gotta be careful, and that's why you don't want to over leverage your properties. Mostly try to stay under 70% loan to value, or 65 in apartment buildings, 60 if you can. But you can't use that money to buy more property and grow your asset base. So join me on the next video on how to find multifamily deals, because this multifamily is where a lot of people make a lot of money and you get generational wealth, indestructible wealth, wealth that can go on from generation to generation to generation for your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids if you do it right. So join me on the next video.